Well, India's mid-cap and small-cap companies have literally gone through the roof at all-time highs. On It's the Economy today, we are seeking to check if this market exuberance is supported by some broad-based business growth at the bottom of the corporate pyramid. Nothing proves a company is confident of its business as much as its hiring intent. And I have with me today Pawan Goyal, the Chief Business Officer at Naukri.com with their famous Naukri Job Speak Index, and Sunil Chemmankotil, the Chief Executive Officer at Teamlease Digital. They also have put out an elaborate survey on hiring intent of companies in the July to December second half of 23. Pawan and Sunil, thank you very much indeed for joining me. Pawan, let me come to you. Your latest Naukri Job Speak Index is indicating hiring intent is higher than it was in August, is higher than July. Can you give us more color? Are companies hiring more?
Yeah. So if the hiring intent from July to August normally decreases. We see about a 4 to 8% decline historically. But this year, it's a 6% high. So now, but if you take a year-on-year perspective, the job speak is still 6% down from a year-on-year perspective. So the hiring intent was highest last year, driven by great resignation wave. It had slowed down subsequently. And if this July to August month-on-month growth, which is different from the historical trend, sustained, then perhaps the bottom is behind us and we can see a hiring intent growth over the subsequent months.
Okay. Now, your obviously all the numbers that we are running of yours, I just want to remind everyone, is percentage of respondents who have been asked the question. So when you see 73% or 65%, it's percentage of respondents who have answered in the affirmative. But Pawan, with your data, can you judge whether the bottom half, that is, small caps and mid caps, are hiring as much or more than the large fellows?
So I don't have specific numbers between it, but what we have seen is actually small and medium companies, they are hiring more than the large companies. Of course, there are sectoral nuances to it. In banking, large banks are hiring more than the small banks, but on an aggregate level, small to mid caps are hiring a lot more than the large companies. As another evidence, Jaipur, Baroda, Ahmedabad, where there is some of the smaller company activity, there is actually job growth there more than in the metros.
Okay, we will run that city-wise hiring as well. And as Pawan points out, tier 2 cities are hiring a lot more. I think Vadodara is ranking very high over there. That table will come for you in just a minute. Sunil, similar question to you. Overall, is hiring intent better? I think your Teamlease hiring intent also is showing that for the second half, the hiring intent is 65% versus 62% in Jan to June.
Good morning, Latha, and good morning to all the viewers. Thank you for having me in the show. Yes, Latha, overall, year on year, if I look at there is a 10% increase in the intent to hire. Normally, we see the second half of the year having more consumption because of post-monsoon, and it's a festive season. Most of the shopping, etc., is scheduled for the second half of the year. So we have seen a increased intent to hire across the sectors. Predominantly, if I would say BFSI, we have seen in FMCG, BFSI, telecom, we have seen better intent to hire.
Okay. What's your sense about, again, the bottom of the pyramid and the top companies? I know you specialize in digital jobs in your company, but is there, the Infosys of the world, or is it a large base of, companies? After all, everybody wants technology today. Even banking companies describe themselves as technology companies with a banking license. So is there small and mid companies hiring more than large ones? Sunil?
As per our survey, the bigger are getting bigger. Okay. So the large companies are hiring more. They have more intent to hire, while the medium and small sectors are actually treading this very carefully and are very cautious. If I talk about the digital hiring, which is the tech hiring, there is an intent to hire across the sectors. However, the real conversion in terms of hiring has still not seen the light of the day.
Okay. Sunil, you all also have separate data on age-wise, experience-wise hiring. And there, freshers are being preferred. Is there, for kids coming out of college, are job prospects good?
Yeah, we as per our survey, there is entry, junior, middle, and senior level which we analyze, and the entry and junior level hirings are actually the intent to hire them are more than the middle and senior level. Predominantly because of the cost factors, and it's a kind of investment which most of these companies are doing so that they can hire the fresh kids coming out of the college and maybe junior employees, and then train them and kind of mitigate the risk of front loading the cost.
So overwhelming hiring is in the fresher category.
Yes, fresher and junior categories.
Okay. Pawan, what is common between the Naukri JobSpeak nuances and the Teamlease data is IT is hiring less. I wouldn't say not hiring, but clearly the pace is far lower than the first half as well as year ago. Can you tell us who is picking up the slack?
So from a sectoral standpoint, oil and natural gas, real estate, banking, pharma, these are the hospitality. These are the sectors which are really picking up the slack right now. And they are growing on a year-on-year perspective as well as month-on-month.
Okay. What would you say about salaries, Pawan? Are people hiring for salaries as they did last year? I would assume the bottommost salary increases along with inflation. Does it just keep pace? Is it better?
Sure. Now, I just want to give you the Naukri data is not based on intent or survey. It is based on actual actions that the companies are taking and job seekers are taking on our platform, correct? Yes. So what we see in terms of hiring is actually hiring in higher experience brackets as well as higher salary brackets is higher. So 20 lakh plus salary segment, hiring is actually growing right now. In the 3 to 20 lakh segment, hiring is declined year on year, and in the less than 3 lakh segment, the hiring is flat. Now, if you take an experience cut also, the highest hiring that we see on our platform is in the 16 plus year segment, and it starts going down as you go down the segment. Now, from a year on year salary growth, last year, because of the great resignation wave, the talent was significantly in demand, and we saw about 20% plus year-on-year salary growth on an average. This year, that number has tapered down dramatically, and it's come down to about 5%. So the hiring slowdown is reflecting in the salary growth as well.
Okay, that's very helpful, and that also to some extent ties in with people who talk about K-shaped recoveries. Those who are earning well are now getting more jobs and can earn better. That message is clearly coming from the recent trends in Naukri JobSpeak. And yes, all your data is flashing on the screen. Please note, Naukri is actual hiring activity, and the Teamlease survey is hiring intent activity. Please note that difference. We are covering it both ways. Sunil, what's your sense? Even your data is proving Bangalore is hired less, although still the highest hiring city is hired less than it did in the previous 6 months. So clearly IT is impacted. But if IT is impacted, who is picking up the slack?
So if you look at our data, all the IT hubs, there is a slowdown in the overall hiring intent, even for the services segment. And that isn't that reflective of the mood of the employee base. They are spending less, and the slack is being taken over by, as my other panelists said, that there's a lot of oil and gas. Manufacturing is also picking up. If I look at the sector wise, the intent, the healthcare is doing well, telecom is doing well. FMCG is picking up some. In terms of moderate level, I can see media.
Sunil, I want to know, since you specialize in digital in your company, is
Yeah.
a large amount of hiring happening by the GCCs. So even if the, technically IT companies like the TCS, Infosys, etc. are not at the best of hiring spree, is it picked
Yeah.
up by, the Deloittes and a whole host of GCCs, special GCCs?
That's an interesting question. See, while there is a large understanding that GCC are expanding in India and there is hiring happening there, but if you look at the volume of hiring by the GCCs is not comparable with the IT services, because IT services hire in large volumes. However, the difference what we are seeing this time, the GCCs which are setting up base, is they are just not hiring the tech talent. They are also hiring a host of functions like the finance, HR, marketing, and all other sectors. So we are seeing in GCCs that hiring is picking up, and that's a good sign because the GCCs are broad-based now. It's just not the tech GCCs which are coming up, and there is some hiring happening. And if you look at the GCCs which are setting up, Hyderabad and Bangalore predominantly have the largest share for all the new GCCs which are setting up. Again, the big fours and the consulting companies also, professionals like lawyers, the finance, chartered accountants, etc., are getting hired in big numbers, and that's where the difference between last year to this year.
Got that point. Actually, we just had a guest, Neelkant Mishra of Axis, who was making the similar point, and I think he has written in one of the newspapers that Indian talent is now not IT as much as middle office, which includes audit, law, compliance. That whole middle office has moved to India, or is moving in many places because of work from home or remote working. Pawan, an overall question to you. Your Naukri index starts in 2008 with an index of 1,000. And today stands at, 2,666. It looks, after all, you all cover only the formal sector. It's sort of huge. It's the index has just doubled and a bit in a matter of 15 years. Formal sector growth is not growing too much, looks like.
So I was doing the CAGR calculation, and this amounts to about 6 to 7% CAGR for a 15-year period. That's the growth. Whether it's good, bad, I think we can all point of view. But 6 to 7% formal growth, is what we see right now.
Okay. No, actually, it's not a bad. It's more than kept pace with real GDP growth, isn't it? After all, in the 2010s, our GDP growth was also between 6 and 7%. So I guess it's kept pace. Just that final question to you also, Sunil. Overall, would you say that if you looked at a 10-year period, India Inc. is hiring more? What is the pace of growth, you think?
Definitely, India Inc. is hiring more, including the formalization is taking place, while the growth is very slow. But if you look at overall, from 26%, it has gone to 28%. We still have close to 72% in the informal sector. The formal sector is improving, increasing because of government initiatives, but it's kind of slow. And I'm sure that in the coming years we will see further propulsion in the formal sector.
Okay, thank you very much, Sunil and Pawan, for giving us a many-sided, actually, a complete 360-degree perspective on hiring in India Inc. Hiring is good, but it is not gangbusters. It has been growing at a CAGR of 6%. Over last year, over this year, August actually has seen a slightly lower decline, but a lower pace of growth of jobs. But overall, the formal sector is crawling up, and that's a positive. Wrap up on Bazaar on that extremely positive note. Chartbusters up next.